Hey guys, and welcome to an incredibly tense game of Total War Warhammer. Today we have a land battle showcase between the mighty forces of Captain Morgan taking on Inticity. Captain Morgan shall be in charge of the Ogre Kingdoms. I'm going to do a really fun build. We've got Crushers with great weapons, triple Iron Guts. It's some really rock and roll stuff. Taking on Inticity's Kislev. Coming in with the new and buffed Griffin Legion, which is pretty exciting to see as well. So let's delve into this. The forces of the mighty Ogre Kingdoms, there's going to be a front line of the cheapest, the sneakiest, and the most cheerful of Noblars. They're a really good fun unit in general, and you saturate your main infantry on top of them to get the most value where possible. We have Ogre Bulls in the center of the second battle line, and Iron Guts on the flank, as well as in the rear. In fact, is that quad Iron Guts? Oh, no, this one is Ogre Bulls. Okay, I thought you'd gone absolutely crazy, but triple Iron Guts is still a rather expensive investment. We'll have to see if it pays off today. We have a Butcher of the Great Moor swagging into action. I love his butcher's hammer there. Going to smack some slabs of meat. He's going to be coming in, it seems, with, where is his spells? Troll Guts, as well as the Moor. Not a bad little set. And we have the Tyrant, who has one of the funniest sounding unit abilities in the game, which is the Arse Belcher, which is just fantastic. He fought so bad, it nukes the leadership of nearby enemies. Hiding in the trees, you have double Crushers with great weapons. These bad boys are expensive as hell, but boy oh boy, can they do some big damage if they get into the right engagements. Looking forward to seeing how they perform here today. Oppose them is the mighty forces of Kislev and Boris Urson, leading a bare sneaky play hidden in the trees over here. We have Boris Urson alongside a Patriarch who's whispering sweet nothingness into his ear, talking about the Great Bear God and how he wills them on in victory today. We have double Warbear Riders on this flank. Really hard-hitting elite core, which I like quite a bit. The main battle line, it looks like we have just cheap and cheerful Kossars for the most part. Only one spear, interesting enough. The basic ones are a little bit cheaper, but still, you think the spears would be quite useful up against the ogres in general, but more the bows, the merrier, I suppose. We have Little Grom with Gust of True Flight, increasing his range and accuracy. We have a glorious Frost Maiden of Tempest. Rarely see the Tempest magic being used, so quite excited to see. He's coming in with Hailstorm as well as that Gust of True Flight. And then we have the Griffin Legion who become a little bit more tanky, I believe, which is just exciting to see. They look phenomenal as well. Certainly one of my favorite looking units in the game. They're going to be driving their horses forward through the trees to enter the battlefield. And it looks like Little Grom does sing a few shots down range for us to start the battle. Ogre Bulls taking a bit of punishment, actually losing 4 models there from a volley, which is really nasty stuff. And now it looks like the Iron Guts will be the main focus of attention. 3 of them slump over. What a sad sight to see. All they wanted was to fill their bellies as well as their blades with blood. It looks like the Warbears were spotted, so decided to fall back a little bit here and play on the defensive side of things, which I certainly don't think is a terrible idea, particularly with Little Grom, who is able to do some really powerful damage. So it seems like Ogre Bulls are taking a bit of bow fire. We do have an early Hailstorm coming in, looking to clatter in at the Noblars and Bulls alike. Does some really solid damage there. Quite impressive work there. And it seems like the Iron Guts are taking quite a pounder. But once this front line hits, it's going to get really nasty for Kislev. Warbears, led by Boris Urson, charge into the deep. Meet the enemy man to man. And the Ogre Bulls are suffering brutally here. We do have the Butcher and Tyrant in the mix. Stand your ground goes down on the Warbears, keeping them nice and topped up. But in come the Crushers. Crushers are going to be very scary. They're one of those few units which can actually go head-to-head with Warbear Riders and often come out on top. We've got a nice 1v1 charge going down here. Look how dwarfed the Warbears are by the mighty Crushers. On the charge, you can see the Crushers getting the better of the early engagements, but it's very, very close stuff here. The other Crushers are supported by their Liege Lords, of course. You get a lovely battle him and Tor's battle him as well as the heal go down. Just still going to help out these Warbears, but the Crushers get Troll Guts upgraded on them. That should enable them to turn the tide. A very hotly contested fight there on the right-hand side. In the main engagement, Kossars are being ran through, unfortunately. Mixture of Iron Guts and Noblars are breaking down the enemy. Griffin Legion have already floated around, been up to no good, and now they're lowering their Lancers, charging into the deep once more, looking to break off Noblar units and protect the range assets of the build. Love to see them being used like this, bouncing around the engagements, not sticking anywhere for too long, and using their durability to really grind down the enemy. We get a Gust of True Flight go down on the Kossars, who are lining up down range, firing after the Crushers, who are with that Troll Guts are faring really, really well. In fact, even the unit without the Troll Guts performing amazing, taking down Warbears. Looks like the Patriarch is in a lot of trouble. Unfortunately, though, for the Ogre Kingdom player, the Butcher is being forced back. Tyrant surrounded by the enemies. This is really a battle of kind of two scraps. We have the big one down here with all the hard hitters, Cavalry and Lords, and the infantry fight elsewhere. And it does look like the Iron Guards were able to ensnare the Frost Maiden and Tempest, who really needs to get out of here because that magic can be quite powerful in the latter stages of the battle. Cossards are attempting to aid her where possible in some shots into the rear of the Iron Guards, who do have a bit more armor than your standard Ogre, which is quite useful for them. Looks like they are cleaving asunder, as many of the Griffin Legion have done a good job just tanking out enemy damage and trying to stabilize this back line whilst the Warbears are elsewhere. Unfortunately, the Kislev center is really starting to break quite badly. Though Little Grom was able to fire once more due to the heroics of the Griffin Legion and the Corsairs, he is getting shut down yet again. It looks like Boris is running for his life. Look at the amount of dead bears. It is seriously a sad sight. It's a little butcher just kind of hobbling away. Looks like he may have accidentally let one slip in his pants there. The Crushers are on arrival. Boris, though, is yeeting away rather strategically. He's not retreating. He's simply advancing in a different direction. We've fallen up and around, most likely trying to get back to his homies here. That's how it is in the Ogre favor, and it certainly looks like they are in the ascendancy at the moment. However, I know Kislev, particularly played by someone like Intisty, has a load of tricks up their sleeve in the latter stages of the battle. Frost Maiden and Tempest taking a little bit of a pounding, not enjoying her day whatsoever, down to 950 HP. It's been supported by the Patriarch, though, who will heal them up and has increased their melee attack. That's going to mean that Frost Maiden's going to be pretty meaty in combat. Hopefully going to be enough to drag down the Iron Guts, who have kind of been slowed by the Frostblade. Incredibly close fight. It looks like some arrows are being launched down range from the rallying Cossards, who were able to beat back some Ogre Balls, and it looks like they will just about be able to save their caster. Although they are broken from now, there's probably a good chance they'll come back. Patriarch doing a decent job there. Now, the Cossards are raining shots in still. It looks like Noblars are pushing through, chasing off a lot of routing units. We have some Warbears who can come back. Little Grom is somehow still alive. I've seen him get compromised multiple times here. So up to 22 kills and just shy of 2,000 value. He's really quite naughty against Ogre Kingdoms, I have found. Looks like he was maybe able to drag down a couple of Crushers in the end there. Looks like the Griffin Legion are unfortunately being made into makeshift replacement bodyguards for the Warbears that Boris already lost. He's like, don't worry, guys. I may have led the Warbears to their death, but I guarantee, I give you the Boris thumbs up guarantee I'll get you into a juicy situation. Crushers are going to be fending them off, though, and it looks like another lovely Air of Effect spell coming in by Kislev here. The Hailstorm is ripping it into Iron Guts, doing some pretty significant damage all round, which is lovely to see. Cossards continue that bowfire pressure onto the Crushers, who have 120 armor, so they're certainly no joke in the armor category. Boris, though, is a meaty boy, and he probably can take down these units, so he would take significant damage. Looks like the Corsairs do get a gust of True Flight popped on them. Unfortunately, the Maw is, it's a hungry beast, and True Flight was not able to save these poor lads, unfortunately, which is a sad day to see. Warbears started to come back, but they were shattered. It looks like Kislev are really down on the dumps at the moment. Only 98 models left against 366 of the Ogre Kingdoms, and you know when you're outnumbered by the Ogres, it's normally not gone particularly well for you. We still have 5 Crushers to contend with, as well as a load of Iron Guts. 13 Iron Guts in that unit, 14 in this unit, but never ever count out Kislev, particularly with such a healthy Boris left alive. He is really looking quite good. He has just about half HP right now. He's got healing potential from the Patriarch, and we still have the Griffin Legion bounding across the field, which is just spewed across with the dead Ogres and Kislev forces alike. It is some pretty gnarly stuff. So Griffin Legion maybe just looking to retreat away from the Crushers and try and take a bit of pressure off Boris while he goes about his butcher's work. Definitely want to protect the Frost Maiden at all costs, however. Those hailstorms really can help quite a bit in the late game. Looks like Griffin Legion were able to actually get a rear charge on the Crushers there. Beautiful play by the Kislev player, dragging the opponent away with the Frost Maiden before turning and engaging and getting the rear attack from the Griffin Legion. Lovely stuff indeed. It looks like the Shard Blade, in combination with the storm of icy shards coming down, is going to do massive damage here, and it might be enough to break the hearts of the Ogre build. Iron Guts took significant damage there, and it looks like the Butcher is terrified of being pushed off. That was a lovely 2-for-1 punch, particularly with the Battle Hymn going down on Boris. It looks like the Butcher's running to save his own skin, and all of a sudden that balance power swings backwards, despite the lovely trap here on this unit of Crushers. A lovely play by the Ogre Kingdom player. Getting the Iron Guts up there to support is probably going to be enough to see off the Griffin Legion, who are fighting to the last man nearly. Just 2 models left, trying their hardest to make Boris proud. Looks like they're basically being ignored, though, as the Cavalry attempts to save their general. The Tyrant gets slapped up by Boris Urson, who's been a true Chad today. The Patriarch's gone. It is just a Boris versus the world. There is a Frost Maiden in the distance who is rallying. Likewise, we have Kossars, but in the main fight, Boris is surrounded. He drives off the Tyrant, and it looks like the Witch isn't out of this fight. Yet another hailstorm going to be coming down from the skies. Look at this beautiful icy shards slapping into the Iron Guts. They're not enjoying that whatsoever, and Boris fighting like a man possessed by a crazed, frenzied bear god, and he is doing beautiful work here. Probably my favorite lord in the game, favorite legendary lord. Is tough to say. Kislev are my favorite faction, though, and he is my favorite Kislev lord, so that's got to count for something. He's staggering back and forth, though, the axes cleaving into the flesh and fur of his mount, but every swing of his blade, every bite of his teeth, he'll be watching you die in your droves. The bear goes on his hind legs there. Looks like there's a bit of archer support as well. Arrows raining down from the skies. Looks like there has been a bit of a rally there in the back from some Kossars. Likewise, though, there are rallying Noblars, there are rallying Iron Guts, as well as the Tyrant. Incredibly close game. Bounce power is slightly in favor of Kislev at the moment. Patriarch rallies in the distance. Unfortunately, though, the Ice Witch, the Frost Maiden, has cast her last spell. Really fun to see the Tempest Magic in action. I think it's highly underrated. It's very good. I just know Heart of Winter kind of overshadows most things. The Crushers are retreating a little bit here, down to 2 models. Now, the Tyrant fighting's very risky, but he needs to do this. I think falling back through his Iron Guts, though, and cycle charging probably is going to be the best way to go. But if Boris is able to kill the Tyrant, I don't think these Iron Guts are going to be able to hold back the pure rage that is Boris, and it looks like I was correct. The Tyrant just dumbfounded, stumped at how he lost that. The Ogres looked like they were in a really dominant position, kind of coming out the mid-game there into the end game, but never count out Kislev, particularly in Tistia. I'm pretty sure this was in Tistia. Unfortunately, can't see the names. I believe that's what Cat Morgan said when he sent this in, but regardless, fantastic play to both these players. Awesome to see the Crushers do so well. 2,700 value on one unit, 2,700 on the other, kind of outdoing the Warbears. Actually, outdoing one unit. The other one got nearly 2.9k value. Boris the Chad, though, managing to hold firm despite the overwhelming pressure from the Ogre Kingdoms. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a really good fun 1-2 cast in general. And yeah, really impressed with the build. Some awesome stuff here. Triple Iron Guts, the Crushers, the Warbears, the Griffin Legion. I love it all. If you guys enjoyed it, then make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up down below, as well as subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. It's really appreciated. Both those things help the channel massively. Likewise, feel free to leave a comment down below what you thought of the battle, what you enjoyed, and what you'd like to see in the future, and all that good stuff. Like a ton of links in the description to Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. Twitch is where I do occasional extra streams. Discord is where you can submit replays and get involved in live streams and tournaments. And Patreon is where the channel gets supported and kept afloat. So until next time, guys, peace. And as always, stay awesome.